Thank you, Rabbi Epstein, Av Bezdin, Rabbi Schwartz, Choshev Rabbonim and Rosh Yeshivas, dignitaries, Congresswoman Chakowski, Alderman Stone, State Senator Ira Silverstein, State Senator Jeff Schoenberg, State Representative Louis Lang, Skokie Mayor Van Dusen, all of the dignitaries, all of the friends, all of the guests that are here tonight, welcome. It is with a heavy heart that we gather here this evening to pay our respects to all who were massacred last week in Mumbai, India. We are heartened by the outpouring of compassion that has been shown here in Chicago and around the world. We have received countless letters, emails, and calls from individuals, organizations, dignitaries, and Amcha, the Jewish people, each expressing the pain and the love for the families of the victims that is felt at this most challenging time. I would like to share one of those letters with you. It is a letter that we received today from President-elect Barack Obama. Dear friends, Michelle and I want to express our profound sorrow and heartfelt condolences over the terrible tragedy that befell the Chabad Lubavitch community, and indeed the entire Jewish community last week in Mumbai. We mourn the loss of Rabbi Gavriel and Rivkah Holtzberg and all their Chabad House guests in these attacks. They were taken from us by terrorists with no regard for human life, and we must remain steadfast in support of efforts to bring the perpetrators of these acts to justice. In running the Chabad House in Mumbai, Gavriel and Rivkah provided a home away from home for so many Jewish travelers, carrying out in their corner of the world Chabad Lubavitch's mission of service to the Jewish community. They gave selflessly of themselves to others and touched many lives along the way. As you mourn and remember those we lost, you should know that so many Americans share your grief and pain. May their memories be a blessing. Sincerely, Barack Obama. I stand here virtually with no words, with a heart broken and shattered. Two tapes keep playing in my mind like an endless reel again and again. One of what's previously mentioned, the 2-year-old Moshe Holtzberg at the memorial service in Mumbai screaming, "Ima, Ima, Mommy, Mommy," and no one answered. And the second tape is the one where I heard the forceful cry of Rabbi Shimon Rosenberg, the father of Rivkah Holtzberg, at the funeral as I was watching yesterday in Israel in Kfar Chabad. It's true there are no answers. There are no explanations. Hanistaros Lashem Elokeinu, that which is hidden is only to God. But there are lessons that we can integrate into our hearts and our souls. In the times of the Holy Temple in ancient Israel, one of the most joyous and colorful events that was held every 7 years took place in Jerusalem. It took place after the Shemitah sabbatical year. The Torah mandated a special ceremony during the holiday of Sukkot known as Hakel, or literally the time of gathering. God commands Hakel es ha'am anoshim noshim v'taf, gather all the men, women, and children. The entire Jewish people would gather in the Beis Hamikdash in the Holy Temple. This ceremony was extremely meaningful and joyful, uniting all of our people at the happiest time of the year, Zaman Simchasenu, the season of our rejoicing. The king would hold the Torah scroll and read passages from the 5th book of the Torah. One of the passages that he read was Shema Yisrael, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. According to the cycle of the Jewish calendar, this year is a Hakel year. Although the temple still stands in ruins and the Jewish people are dispersed throughout the diaspora, it is appropriate to gather in unity and express our rededication to the Almighty and to His Torah. Yesterday in Kfar Chabad, in the presence of thousands and thousands of our brethren who stood in disbelief as the martyred bodies of Gavriel and Rivkah Holtzberg, Hashem Yinocham Damam, were about to be laid to eternal rest, at that moment, Rabbi Shimon Rosenberg, Rivkah's fathers, declared with all his might, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. In communities around the world, in gatherings just like this, the echo of that Shema Yisrael is heard. Undoubtedly, these gatherings are reminiscent in size and scope of the Hakel of old. We once again hear the Shema Yisrael, but this time, it's not the season of our rejoicing, and not just for those families of the massacred, but for all Israel and the entire world. There's a man in the Chabad community in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, New York. His name is Rabbi Nissen Mengel. Many of you may know him indirectly because he's the translator of the siddur that Chabad uses in all of the Chabad houses. He survived the Holocaust as a child and eventually made his way to the United States and settled in Brooklyn. But then in 1988, he suffered another tragedy. In adulthood, he lost his son, Rabbi Lazer Mengel, in a tragic car accident. Lazer was a Chabad emissary in New Jersey. He left behind a wife and an unborn child, a grieved family, and a stunned community. During the Shiva, the community rallied behind the Mengel family, and on the 7th day of the Shiva, Rabbi Mengel spoke. He told of a story that when Lazer was 5 years old, the family went into Yechidus, a private audience with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. In the course of this audience, the Rebbe turned to the young boy Lazer and asked him to say the Shema. He refused. As a little child, he was scared. So the Rebbe gave him a coin, and then he said the Shema. Suddenly, the Rebbe's broad smile disappeared, and he turned to Rabbi Nissen Mengel with a serious face and said, "You have to teach your child that when a Jew says the Shema, he covers his eyes." Said Rabbi Mengel at the Shiva, "For all these years, I couldn't understand what the message was. Why was the Rebbe so serious about telling me such a simple directive? Now I understand," he said, "what the Rebbe had in mind. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu is the basic belief of a Jew that God is ever present, watching us, looking out for us, and our well-being like a loving father. Not always do we see this when we look around with our open eyes. At times, we don't see that to be the case. When we look around for Him, we have more questions than answers. So when we say the Shema, we close our eyes and cover them. We don't necessarily see this almighty truth, but our faith is intact. Shema Yisrael. Jewish people